Okay, we've all gotten pretty used to AI that can, write a poem or design an image. But what we're talking about today is a much, much bigger deal. It's a fundamental shift from an AI that just answers to one that actually acts. For the last couple of years, all the focus has been on teaching AI to be this brilliant assistant. But this one question right here, it changes the entire game. And it's the big idea we're going to unpack right now. So let's start by going beyond the prompt, because we are leaving the world of simple reactions and entering a world of deliberate, autonomous action. Look, this isn't just another software update. Some people are calling it a Copernican shift, and that's a huge way to put it. It means we're fundamentally changing our entire perspective. We're not just automating simple tasks anymore. We're starting to delegate our actual intent. We're all familiar with generative AI, right? I mean, it's absolutely captured our imagination, creating incredible text and code and images, but its power has one fundamental limit. It is completely reactive. It just sits there waiting for a human to give it a prompt. This right here, this slide, gets to the absolute heart of the difference. Think of generative AI as that brilliant assistant, just waiting for your next command. But agentic AI, that's more like a self-directed colleague. You don't give it a task, you give it a goal. It then figures out the entire path to get there on its own. That is the seismic shift we're talking about. And that brings us right into what we're calling the age of agency. So what does an AI that truly acts? What does that actually look like in practice? Well, at its core, agentic AI is a system that doesn't just wait around for prompts. You give it a high-level goal and it will autonomously plan, decide, and act to achieve it, often without any more input from you. So how does it really work? Well, imagine giving an agent a goal like, hey, increase our market share in the Northeast. It starts by truly understanding that intent. Then it plans specific actions, it executes them using whatever tools it needs, and here's the key part, it adapts. If one strategy isn't working, it course corrects in real time all by itself. Now, it's really important to see this isn't some kind of battle, Gen AI versus agentic AI. The real future is combining them. You use Gen AI for the ideation, that creative spark, and then you hand off to agentic AI for the execution at scale. And this isn't just a theory. This combination is already reshaping how businesses operate, creating what you could call the autonomous enterprise. In finance, for example, forget waiting for a month-end report. An agent can now monitor transactions continuously, flagging an anomaly the very second it happens, and immediately kicking off the process to resolve it. Or think about HR. Imagine an agent that identifies skill gaps across the company and recommends specific training. It could even flag an employee who might be at risk of leaving and suggest an intervention long before they've even updated their resume. And for sales teams, this is a total game changer. An agent can orchestrate an entire hyper-personalized campaign from start to finish, autonomously tweaking the messaging and pricing in real time based on how customers are behaving. This brings us to a really powerful idea. Agentic AI is becoming the connective tissue of the enterprise. You can almost think of it like a central nervous system, linking all these different systems, taking action, and finally breaking down the silos that have always slowed companies down. So, the big question on everyone's mind. What does this mean for us, for human jobs? Let's take a look at this new model of collaboration. The immediate fear is always about replacement, but the argument here is that agentic AI doesn't eliminate human work, it elevates it. The goal isn't to take humans out of the picture, but to fundamentally change the nature of our work, hopefully for the better. So how does it elevate it? Well, by taking over all the tedious, repetitive work, what some call the tyranny of the inbox and spreadsheet. This frees up our time and our mental energy to focus on the things that we humans are uniquely good at: complex judgment, empathy, creativity, and true radical innovation. But to make that collaboration a reality, we're going to need a new mindset and some new skills. It's really about developing a completely new kind of digital fluency. And before any of this can happen, we have to talk about trust, because let's be honest, you're not going to delegate meaningful goals to a black box. Designing for trust isn't just a nice-to-have feature, it is the absolute foundation for everything else. Building that trust really comes down to three key things. First, we need transparent reasoning, so the agent can explain its why in a way we understand. Second, we need ethical alignment, so it's trained on our values, not just raw data. And finally, we absolutely need a human in the loop, so that all this autonomy is always bounded by accountability.
Okay, so once that trust is established, the focus really shifts back to our own skills. Because prompting, that was just the beginning. A whole new professional skill set is emerging right now.
This is basically the new literacy for the modern professional. It starts with prompting, but not just giving a command. It's about clearly communicating a high-level goal. Then comes supervising, being able to look at what the agent is doing and judge its quality. And finally, you have orchestrating, managing whole teams of these agents, all working together toward a bigger strategic objective.
All of this leads to a pretty powerful conclusion. The future is going to belong to those who can lead these new hybrid teams of humans and machines. So the real question isn't whether we'll use agentic AI.
The real question is how. How are we going to shape this technology to reflect our highest aspirations? How do we make sure these powerful new colleagues help us build the future we actually want to live in? That's the challenge and the incredible opportunity that's sitting right in front of all of us.